At the Halloween costume party, my mom looked me straight in the eye and said, "No seats left for family goodbye, loser." My sister immediately dropped a heart emoji. I let out a quiet scoff and glanced at my watch. The group chat kept buzzing, completely unaware of the storm that was about to hit. I'm Essie Clark, and this is a part of my life that still hits hard. Months earlier, my family had pushed the entire responsibility of our big Halloween bash onto me, a party, with costumes, games, and the whole neighborhood invited. With my steady marketing job, I handled everything: booking the rec center, ordering themed snacks, buying decor like spooky banners and fog machines. Thousands of dollars in deposits and tastings, all charged to my card, backed only by vague promises of group gift reimbursements. But that night at the rec center, everything snapped. I'd arrived early in my witch costume to finish the setup when my mom pulled me aside and threw that line at me: "No warning, no reason." Seconds later, she blasted the same message into our planning chat, and my sister stamped it with a heart. Notifications flooded in costume memes, my dad's thumbs up, everyone admiring the setup I had paid for while acting like I didn't exist. I stood there watching them enjoy an event built on my effort and my money. They wanted the party, but not me. Their so-called contributions never happened. So instead of arguing, I simply let out a quiet scoff and glanced at my watch, because right then they had no idea what was already unfolding behind the scenes. And by dawn, everything flipped. If you've ever carried your whole family only to be pushed aside, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next part will show you how one small decision can make the entire system they built collapse. By the time I got home that evening, the group chat was swarming with input from my sister and mom. She posted a meme of a ghost booing at its own reflection, captioning it, "Halloween self-roast." And mom replied with, "Nailed it, what a hoot." My dad added a thumbs up as if the drama hadn't occurred. They shared videos of guests in costumes competing in the pin, the tail on the donkey game, and the apple cider station gushing over the seamless organization without crediting the source. The dialogue expanded with heart reactions and quick replies, making it a virtual victory lap. That unchecked merriment minus me laid bare their scheme. They had strategically ousted me, seeing me as disposable after the heavy lifting. It revived the persistent favoritism that had molded our interactions. From toddlerhood, my parents indulged my sister with plush toys and storybooks, commending her scribbles as masterpieces, while I got plain crayons and encouragements to clean up after her. They'd direct me to pack her lunch or tie her shoes, terming it helpful practice. In grade school, I surrendered my piggy bank savings to replace her lost jacket because "you're the careful one." Middle school, I paid for her cafeteria tabs from my chore money when she blew hers on snacks. High school, I dipped into my grocery bagging job for her sports gear, unanswered. Nowadays, they draw on my marketing pay for her subscription boxes or takeout orders amid her chronic joblessness, deeming it kin obligation. They made me feel like the family ATM while she just took without thanks, and it stung every single time, instilling a growing bitterness I'd concealed. This expulsion was the spark that ignited the powder keg. I hovered over my phone in the dark living room, watching them exchange notes on the best masks and the candy haul. Their callous enthusiasm was the decisive factor. The era of enabling was over. I logged into my account, located the rec center's emergency line, and rang the manager. The deposit was documented under my details: $2,000 from my debit for the haul. I declared I was halting the engagement due to an immediate crisis, citing the provision for returns if reported in time. She questioned if the function was finished, and I said it wasn't, but I was the primary account holder. To substantiate, I sent the billing summary and my social security card copy. She examined it briefly, then endorsed the closure, indicating they'd shut down the electricity and sound equipment from afar and start the repayment. No quibbling on the fallout, she complied with the protocol flawlessly. The call closed in 16 minutes, but it heralded a new chapter. I sat still, pulse steadying. The fallout was imminent. The next morning at 9 a.m., I grabbed my phone and started with the food vendor. The themed snacks, pumpkin pies, candy corn bowls, and finger foods shaped like ghosts, had a deposit of $1,000 tied to my email. I pulled up the invoice on my laptop, scanned the confirmation with my name as the primary payer, and dialed their line. The rep asked for proof, so I forwarded the receipt chain showing the transaction from my bank account. She hesitated, at first noting the event had started, but once she verified the contract allowed cancellations with notice and no full payment had cleared, she processed the stop. The order was dropped, and they agreed to refund minus a small fee. No more haunted hors d'oeuvres for them. Next came the decor supplier. Those spooky banners, fog machines, and glow-in-the-dark props ran another $800. I logged into their portal, attached the original booking email under my credentials, and called support. The guy on the phone wanted details, so I read off the order number and explained the situation as a personal emergency. He checked the system, saw my card as the source, and confirmed they could halt delivery of any remaining items. The hold went through immediately, with an email confirmation landing in my inbox seconds later. Then the photographer. I'd booked her for candid shots of costumes and games, $500 upfront. Her contract was in my files, signed digitally with my info. I texted her first, then followed with a call. She was surprised, mentioning she'd already prepped gear, but when I shared the payment proof and clause for client-initiated cancels, she relented. No photos would be taken, and she put the session on ice. By noon, the party was crumbling from afar. My phone lit up with a barrage from the family. My sister Jannie texted first. "What the hell did you do? Fix it now, or I'll spill what happened with Vernon at your old job." It was a low blow, dredging up that messy office mix-up where he'd flirted and I'd shut it down. Then my mom, Rosalie, rang, voice sharp through the speaker. "You're wrecking our family night. Stop this nonsense before it's too late." More messages poured in, accusations of jealousy, threats to cut me out for good. Even a voice note from Jannie ranting about mental instability. They sent 12 texts in 5 minutes demanding reversals. I didn't engage. One by one, I blocked their numbers. Jannie's first, then Rosalie's, even Dad's for good measure. The silence that followed was golden. For the first time since the exclusion, a wave of relief washed over me as the chat went dead. No more pings, no more demands. They'd pushed too far, and now they'd feel the void. But the unraveling was just beginning. Vendors started notifying them directly, and I knew the panic would escalate. A few days later, around noon, my family started cutting digital ties. My sister unfollowed me on Instagram first, then blocked me outright on Facebook and Venmo. She posted a cryptic story, a black and white selfie with teary eyes, captioned, "When betrayal comes from those you least expect." No direct tag, but the implication was obvious, aimed straight at me. Mom followed suit, removing me from her friends list and sharing a quote graphic about family forgiveness with a sad face emoji. Dad quietly blocked me too, his profile vanishing from my feed without fanfare. The Venmo history showed they'd all viewed my last transactions, but ignored the outstanding requests. The silence didn't last. My Aunt Kizzy called that afternoon, her voice tentative. She mentioned hearing whispers that I'd had a meltdown and was sabotaging the party out of envy toward my sister. "Is it true you're unstable and jealous of her success?" she asked, clearly uncomfortable. I kept my response brief, confirming I'd pulled the funding and had no regrets. "Yes, and I'm not apologizing," I said flatly before hanging up. She didn't press further, just sighed and ended the call. Then came the messages from my cousin Laverne. She texted in a casual tone, "Hey, caught wind of some confusion with the party planning. Want me to mediate and chat with them for you?" It was classic guilt manipulation disguised as concern. More followed from distant relatives, flattery like, "You're so strong but families fight," or confusion feigned as, "What really went down? Let's clear the air." I scrolled through without replying, deleting each one as it arrived. The attempts felt hollow, designed to pull me back into the fold without addressing the core issue. I didn't bite. Instead, I cleared my notifications entirely, archiving the group chat for good. The weight lifted slightly as their reach diminished. No more indirect jabs or pleas infiltrating my space. They thought ignoring my boundaries would force compliance, but it only solidified my stance. The repercussions were spreading, and I let them unfold without interference. Their efforts to salvage the event hit roadblocks, but I stayed detached, focusing on my own routine. The isolation they imposed backfired, highlighting their dependence more than ever. A few days later, around noon, my family escalated their digital purge. My sister started by unfollowing me on Instagram, then fully blocking me on Facebook and Venmo. She uploaded a story with a somber filter showing her in a leftover costume piece overlaid with, "When those you trust turn their backs." No mention of my name, but the subtext screamed accusation. Mom mirrored the move, unfollowing and blocking across platforms, then posting a passive meme about broken bonds mended with time. Dad did the same quietly, his accounts disappearing from my view without a word. The Venmo app showed they'd all checked our transaction log but left it untouched. No transfers incoming. The quiet didn't hold. My Aunt Kizzy rang up, tone laced with awkwardness. She brought up rumors circulating that I'd snapped and was undermining the party due to resentment over my sister's life. "People are saying you're having a breakdown and jealous of her stability. Is that what's going on?" She probed. I responded curtly, affirming the withdrawals and standing firm. "Yeah, I did it and I don't regret a thing," I stated before disconnecting. She paused, then muttered something about hoping for resolution, but the line went dead. Shortly after, my cousin Laverne messaged with a sympathetic veneer. Her text read, "Hey, picked up on some planning hiccup, want me to step in and smooth things over with them." It reeked of manipulation, posing as aid to drag me back. Other relatives chimed in with similar tactics, subtle compliments like, "You're too good to let this linger," or puzzled queries such as, "What's the real story? We can sort it." I read them once, then dismissed and erased every single one, clearing my inbox of their influence. Refusing to respond felt empowering. Their attempts to reel me in only exposed their desperation, but I remained unresponsive, letting the distance grow. The vendors' confirmations kept coming to my email, solidifying the shutdowns, and I knew word was trickling out. They assumed I'd cave under pressure, but the blocks ensured my peace. The ripple effects were building, and I observed from afar without lifting a finger. Their salvage operations faltered further, but I focused on my work tasks instead, unburdened by their noise. The detachment they enforced now worked against them, underscoring how much they'd relied on my silence before. 1 week after the cancellation, my dad Theodore sent an email laced with calculated charm. The subject was, "Time to move forward," and the body began with a pseudo-empathetic opener. "We realize emotions were running hot, but let's mend this for everyone's benefit." He expressed understanding for my upset, but framed it as a temporary glitch, vowing to handle the money side once we all cool off. No concrete plan or figures, just nebulous commitments to reimburse after the situation stabilizes. It was his typical playbook, polished phrases without substance, meant to erode my stance through implied obligation. Soon after, a Venmo alert chimed from Vernon. $7,000 requested, blank description except for missed party share. It struck as arrogant, positioning me as a delinquent donor. I hit decline, but 10 minutes later, another popped up, identical amount, no explanation. I rejected that one as well and sealed it by blocking him entirely on the platform. Their presumption grated, expecting compliance without question. Then my mom Rosalie made her play. She phoned the rec center, claiming to be my administrative aide, demanding they restore the reservation and bill my card again. The manager probed for credentials, requesting email proof of authority. Rosalie faltered, then disconnected suddenly. The manager marked it suspicious, ran a number trace, and forwarded me a notification: suspected fraudulent attempt on your account, incident logged. Included was the call record with her digits pinpointed, plus advice to watch for unauthorized charges. These incidents cascaded like dominoes, revealing their coordinated pushback. Theodore's message landed in my inbox mid-morning, setting a reconciliatory vibe. Vernon's demands followed by afternoon blunt and insistent. Rosalie's maneuver rounded it out by evening, veering into outright deception. I saved the fraud notice as evidence, though I held off on escalating to authorities. Watching them tangle in their own web sufficed for now. Their strategies merely cemented my position, illuminating the lengths they'd pursue to evade responsibility. The day dragged with their intrusions, but it crystallized the fracture. I filed the email away, logged the Venmo rejections, and attached the alert to my documentation. Their ploys didn't budge me. They amplified the rationale for my withdrawal. The relational structure was irreparably damaged, and I refused to reconstruct it. On the day of their makeshift gathering, the rescheduled small event fell apart from the start. A neighbor noticed the tent pitched in the backyard and phoned the city reporting a gathering without a required permit for assemblies over 15 attendees. An official showed up, promptly enforcing regulations by mandating removal and issuing a $400 penalty. Without a fallback site, they improvised, but the disruption killed the courthouse-style simplicity they'd planned. The food provider delivered the next blow. They'd placed my sister Jannie's details on a no-service list after cross-checking the prior bill confirming the stop came from the account holder. When she attempted to place a new order for simple trays, they denied it, referencing rules on unresolved disputes. The lingering charges from the initial setup locked them out. No supplies arrived. The decor outlet piled on. They withheld the leftover pieces like additional props and signs, insisting on total clearance before handover. Jannie contested via email, but the representative referenced the agreement's stipulation for complete settlement in holds, stranding them with minimal setup. In the midst of this, I executed my plan. I framed the receipts, a glossy 8x10 of the venue payment stub affixed with blown-up versions of the phony donation records they'd concocted. Jannie's mark on a key page highlighted in blue. I packaged it in gold paper with a black ribbon, anonymous, and timed delivery to the diner where they'd shifted the meal. It reached the table 15 minutes prior to seating positioned amid the starters. They unwrapped it before kin. The atmosphere hushed as the display uncovered the facts, who truly covered the costs. My cousin Mamie messaged me, "Holy crap, that's cold." Laverne murmured to a relative about recording the moment on her device, and the clip circulated via confidential family chats rapidly. Uncles cleared throats, aunts exchanged glances, and the meal grew strained with whispers of, "She footed the bill for everything," filling the air. Their pretense shattered completely. The occasion sputtered out, attendees departing prematurely in the unease. I remained absent, but the reports verified the effect: no further illusions. The disclosure struck deep, compelling them to face the deceit immediately. The evening concluded in turmoil, the festivity an utter failure. The disclosures persisted, but I kept distant, allowing the outcomes to unfold. Their realm contracted, and mine at last expanded. In the months following the gathering, the consequences unfolded brutally. Bills mounted relentlessly, vendor invoices with escalating interest, the city's $400 fine for the unpermitted tent, and demands from the decor firm for outstanding balances. My sister Jannie got fired from her sales position when major clients withdrew contracts upon learning of the scandal via LinkedIn endorsements from kin and viral Facebook threads. A top partner emailed her termination notice, noting reputational risks from public family conflicts. She floundered in job hunts, her resume tainted by the online buzz. Mom Rosalie and Dad Theodore endured isolation. Relatives declined to host them for Christmas events, whispering about steering clear of draining energy. Invites dried up, and family barbecues proceeded without them, leaving their calendar empty. Vernon initiated a straightforward divorce from Jannie through county filings, attributing it to overwhelming money woes from the botched affair. He packed basics and relocated to an apartment share, severing joint accounts. The household turned to pawnshops and online listings selling heirlooms like grandma's china and dad's tools to stave off bank foreclosures. I gleaned snippets from Aunt Kizzy's occasional messages about struggles, but refrained from engaging or extending help. Seeing them navigate the wreckage independently evoked a sharp sense of vindication. They finally tasted the isolation they'd inflicted without my intervention to cushion the blow. I cut off every avenue completely, updated my contact info, fortified blocks on all apps, and channeled focus into career growth, securing a senior spot with better perks. The absence of their demands felt like fresh air unclouded by old patterns. From this, I learned family bonds mean nothing without mutual respect. Setting firm boundaries protects you from being exploited, and it's okay to walk away from toxicity to build a better life. Thanks for sticking with me through this story. I appreciate you all for listening and sharing your own experiences in the comments. If this resonated, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a like to support more real-life dramas like this.